Hey guys, it's Kristine here, your Scentsy Superstar Director, day 27 of Leap to Lead already. It feels like it's just flying by. We've had a couple great days of watching some awesome videos from other Scentsy people or just really cool people on YouTube that have great messages to share. So I hope you guys enjoyed those. I know that I certainly did the first couple of times I watched the videos while I was checking it over. Today, though, I want to talk to you guys about the next step when you're building your team, and that's the training of a new recruit or supporting somebody. And really, this is the part that gets into why we use the word sponsor versus recruit, because recruiting implies, even though that is the technical term used in direct sales often, recruiting implies that it ends there, that as soon as they sign up for your team, you've done your job, you've recruited them, you got them to join. And while there's lots of resources out there, as you guys know, from Scentsy as a company and from the teams that you're on with, programs even like this that we do as leaders in the company, just recruiting somebody is in the smallest part of your job as a leader and in building a team, because sponsoring is about supporting them to grow their business. And that's why it's rewarding to build a team and bring people into this business, because you're actually, you're giving people the opportunity when you recruit them and get them to sign up, but actually being a part of inspiring them to believe in themselves and training them on the different tips that they can, utilize and put into play, into practice in their business. That's where the real reward comes in, when you see their success and share in their excitement of their success. So basically, as soon as you have your first recruit, you are a leader. That's what you are called. You are now a team leader. You have a team. And now, one of the biggest things I even say to my new recruits that I think is really important for you guys to be aware of and think about is that it is definitely much more labor intensive when they first join. And you're going to have all types that join your team too, in terms of what their needs are. And we'll get into that in the later programs after Leap to Lead that I'm going to create for those, bigger team building stages of your business, when we get into personalities and what different people need. But basically, every new recruit needs these things from you to help them really get started when you are just starting to build your team. So just remembering that you're there for them. But I also wrote down that a big part of our job is reassuring them that they're not bugging us, because we know that initial time is the time that they're going to need us the most. And so I really make an effort to reassure my new team members that I know that and I love that about my job, and that I love helping them, and that they are not bugging me, they are not bothering me, because I've noticed over the years that often the message is either started off with or ends with, "I'm so sorry to bug you again," because I think just as society, we've really come to this place where we feel like asking questions of somebody is being a pest. And when you're in this business and you are making money off of their sales, and you are building a team to build a business, it's your job. And so you need to be prepared to reassure them that you get that they're going to need you more in the beginning, because you remember what it was like to be a brand new consultant, and you know that it's overwhelming and there's a lot of information all at once in the beginning. And so be prepared to reassure them. I find that helps if I precursor it and say, hey, you do not need to apologize for bugging me. Ask me questions when they come up, because I want you to succeed and I want you to feel comfortable coming to me with those questions. And that just plays into what I said. Think about what you needed. When you want to think about what type of leader you want to be or how you want to lead, the best place to start is to think about what helped you or what you wish you'd had more support with in the beginning. Now be careful with this, because I think that sometimes we can get into an entitlement zone, or our expectations are unrealistic, and we think that our sponsor should do more than they actually should do. So Make sure that you really process that and think that through. If you think that there's things your sponsor didn't do for you, maybe have a conversation with your director or myself and see if those expectations were realistic once you get into this place, because you could run yourself ragged, and there's a reason that there's a realistic limit to what you expect. And that really plays into the whole teaching them to fish, which means teaching them to learn for themselves and do for themselves versus always doing for them. Because as you build it, you need things to be duplicatable. And so if you do way too much for your first recruit, your first 10 recruits, you can't maintain that when you have a larger team. And you shouldn't, because the number one thing that I hope you take away from this video today is that you are not helping anyone by doing for them. People learn by doing, but not so much just the learning. They gain confidence by doing and succeeding. And so this is a business of confidence. We do better when we believe in ourselves, when we believe in this product, when we believe in this business, but when we believe in ourselves. And so you need them doing it and succeeding at doing it so that they get that confidence, which then leads to belief. And it's just this constant circle or cycle where they'll try new things because they have more confidence to do that. So if you're always just doing for and handing them, post this and do this and here's a good idea. I mean, yes, tips are good. You guys have seen through this program, we're giving lots of good tips for you guys. But statistically, the ones that do better in the long run and build a bigger business, because you want to build leaders. That's your next step. Build your team, but then build leaders. You need people that are going to do things for themselves and not sit back waiting for it to be handed to them. And the other tip is that it's about them again. So the best way to do that is to ask them, what do they want out of this business, and what do they hope for from you as their leader? Now, that doesn't mean, again, that you have to do it, because their expectations may be off, but that's an opportunity to have a conversation with them and say, okay, well, that's not really where the job of a sponsor lies. And keep in mind, everything you do for your team members, you're helping them, but at the same time, you're role modeling for them how to be a sponsor. So you want to be able to be right out the gate teaching them that they don't have to do absolutely everything in order to recruit, because if you do everything for them, you are also making it look scary to recruit, because they'll watch and think, oh, I can't. I don't want to do everything she's doing. I appreciate that she's doing it for me, for my sales, but I'm not going to recruit because I don't want to do all of those things. So you also have to be keeping that in mind, that you do not want to make it look too hard or too complicated. But at the same time, you're role modeling for them. So then what you're doing is you're showing them, hey, this isn't that bad. You can build a team and build a successful business without having to do, all kinds of things and spend all kind of money out of pocket, et cetera, et cetera. But it is nice to ask them kind of what they prefer. So when I say what they prefer, I'm talking more, do you prefer to come to me when you have a question and be left alone otherwise? Do you want us to schedule regular coaching calls? Do you want me just checking in every once in a while with that little push because you know that you need that? What is it that you need from me ongoing? But again, when they're brand new, it's going to be definitely more intensive, the coaching and helping them, because they have a lot more to learn in the beginning. So the best thing to start off with is helping them get started fast because of those initial incentives. So because there's so much to learn and it can be overwhelming, the most important things to teach them at first are the things that are time sensitive, which is about the shooting star and sensational start, because they need to get going on those right away. They don't need to understand the pay portal until their first pay. They don't need to understand how to enter an order until they've started collecting orders, right? So because it can be overwhelming to have so much information, and this is where I say think about what it was like for you, because I guarantee when you guys think that through, you're going to be like, yes, it was too much information. I'm sure my sponsor talked about the pay portal in our first meeting, but I still had to go and ask her on my first payday, like, what to do. So you can eliminate repeating yourself by focusing in a chronological order of the most important priorities, so you're not overwhelming them with a bunch of information that they're not going to retain, and they're going to come back to you anyway. So the initial incentives of Shooting Star and Sensational Start off the bat, and then the launch party so that they can earn those. So talking to them about reading their startup guide, and that while they're waiting for their kit to arrive, they can read that through the workstation, even in the business references tab. I almost said resources. That's a very old school word. Came sneaking back out. But my other tip is to try to be at their launch party if you are local. Especially, our kits come a lot faster than they used to. But we may, as their sponsor, have more stuff, so it's kind of nice to be there. I will often, if they do plan a launch party, I say, like, let's get this planned so that I can make sure it works with my schedule, and I will try to be there for you. Again, I want them doing. I don't want to run the party. I want them to try and run the party, but I'm there to drop seeds of things that they may miss because they're so overwhelmed and trying to remember to say everything. So as they may be taking orders, I'm there for them to come grab and say, I don't know how to write this, but I stay near the people that are sniffing the testers, so I can be listening for those people that are dropping hints that they might be a potential recruit or host for them to reach out to. And I may even say a few of the things, or at least point it out to my new team member afterwards, like, hey, this person probably would have a party for you based on what they were saying. So I can be there to support that way, but I really try to not run the party for them because, again, they need practice and to build that confidence that they can do it themselves. So I try to be at the launch party. Now, if they're a long-distance recruit, I can be there through technology, right? So don't ever discount that. But having a launch party, it is about getting their initial orders to try and get their shooting star, but it's helping them see that it is about launching their business, which means launching the momentum in their business. So they want to get bookings, talking to them ahead of time about how do you plan to do that? Did you do some research on the workstation about games that you think your friends would like or you would enjoy doing? We like the dice game, right? Helping them get bookings because they need to use their launch party to show their friends that they're serious about this as a business and they want to get that momentum going and book parties. Then you would get into helping them enter their first order and teach them about that stuff, but also showing them that there are tutorials on the workstation. So when they're lost, before reaching out to you and asking you, they can click on those as well and try to teach themselves. Making sure they know about subscriptions as soon as possible, right? The Scent of the Month or Warmer of the Month subscriptions, explaining the value to them, how they can write that off on their taxes, where they go to register for that, but why they would want to have it and how they can utilize it in marketing and growing their business. Then set future coaching times so you're not overwhelming them. So say, hey, do the first order, but then let's meet again in a month, where then they will have gotten their feet wet, felt a bit settled about the overwhelmingness of the technology stuff with the workstation. Then you can talk dreams again, because you want to get them dreaming. They are going to tell you, hey, I'm just doing this for the discount, or I'm just doing this for, I don't plan to grow a team. And they may be absolutely right. They are absolutely right because it's their business and it's what they want. But we know that lots of people don't even realize what they want out of this business until they've been in it for a while. So I'm not saying push them and say, no, you want to dream, because again, it's about them, not you. So you don't want to be like, you want a car payment, you want to earn these trips, because that might not be where they're at, and you could do damage in terms of scaring them off from you, and make them not want to work it. But just be there to be encouraging them to dream about what they want and to dream big. So even if you just want this for a discount, how much of a discount do you want? We have a lot of great products. Do you want to, in order to keep selling, you should be trying everything. So you should be selling enough to be getting sample to use of all of our product lines or all your favorite scents, or being ready. Tell them ahead of time. Scentsy comes out with these great deals like these disco dancing bricks we have right now, and you're going to want them. So lay it out for them. This is the kind of sales you need to do in a month to get that kind of an income that would help you get all that stuff, or, to get those host rewards when you're putting in orders for free and half price for that stuff. But the biggest thing that I wanted to say is to try to really not speak in minimums. And I feel like this is a lesson for you guys. A lot of you are new. And I've been reading a lot of really great stuff recently from other superstar directors and discussions we've had, but also just other direct sales trainers, that human beings, it's kind of innate in us to work towards a minimum. It's rare for people to be those go-getters that are like, screw that, I am surpassing that, and I'm going to beat it by, I'm going to raise you by whatever. We're more likely to just do the minimum, especially with such a busy life that we are all distracted by technology and all of those things. And so if we train our team on the minimums, they're going to do the minimums. And you, not only do you not want that for your business, you don't want that for their business. Because if their goal is only to do 200 every 3 months, and they're only working as hard to do that, then when something goes wrong and, those customers they counted on decide they can't afford it that month, or they get sick, or somebody in their family gets sick, then they find themselves in a situation to be panicking at the end of the 3 months to get their order in, right? And you guys may be listening to this thinking of yourselves, going, yeah, that's kind of where I am, and that's why I'm doing this program, right? So that's why we're saying, stop focusing on just doing the minimum. Leap for lead, leap for superstar director. That famous saying, shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you land among the stars. So don't train your recruits on the minimum. They're going to ask, it's going to be a question, what do we have to do to stay a consultant? And you're going to say, blah, 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 200 PRV all in the same month every 3 months. But to get paid on your team that you built and worked really hard to get, you need 500 PRV in a month. So that should be your minimum. But if you get 2,000 PRV in a month, you get a 5% bonus. So then you're getting paid an extra 5% on all of your sales, not just the sales after you hit that 2,000 PRV, but for your entire month. So you're getting paid more for the work you're doing if you hit 2,000 PRV in the month, and that's, you start over every month. And why stop there? So that's why they say to look at dreaming. So if this is what you want in life, it's the same as you do with a host, right? If these are the free and half price products you want, well, this is the party total that'll get you that. Or this is how much it'll cost you if you hit this party level. So applying that with training a new recruit, if you want to quit your job, 200 PRV every 3rd month ain't going to get you there. If you want to earn trips, not recruiting isn't going to get you there, because you need to get, we always have, especially the last few years, we always have a component where you need so many points that come from something other than sales, whether that's recruiting or being paid at title and stuff, which you can't be paid at title points if you're not in a leadership title. If you want, so getting them dreaming helps you say, okay, well then this is what you need to do with your business, because people shooting for the minimums, that's how we don't have retention. And that's why this conversation's been coming up, is people quit because they're like, oh, it was too hard to do the 200 every 3 months. But I call BS on that, because I have to do 500 every month. And I have done it for 8 years with not even listening to a lot of these tips I'm learning now and working on for good customer follow-up, through a divorce, through medical issues with 2 of my kids, through a day treatment mental health program for severe ADHD with one of my kids, through my own diagnosis of ADHD and finding the right meds, and finding the right meds for my depression, through another major breakup with somebody who conned me out of lots of money. I have always had my 500 PRV every month. So anybody that says, oh, it's too hard, or I don't have enough time to get my 200 every 3 months, isn't dreaming big enough, isn't believing in themselves enough, right? Those are the things you have to help them with. It isn't, I can't help somebody by just giving them tips, because if they don't believe in themselves, they're not going to do those tips I give them. Right? That isn't what you do as a leader. You inspire them to believe in themselves by showing them that this is possible, and more is possible than just the 200 PRV every 3 months. One last quote I want to give you that's really cool. It comes from some training from Belinda Ellsworth, another guru, trainer, and speaker in the direct sales world. I didn't buy books from her. I have training audio CDs and stuff. And I've heard her speak live here locally in Halifax and also at a Scentsy convention. So she's super funny, super awesome. And she talked on one of her trainings that I was listening to about this concept of setting realistic expectations right from the beginning. And I loved the way she put it, that she said, if they say their goal is to do this as a hobby, you say, all right, well, painting or pottery lessons or a gym class as a hobby, usually that's about a 2-hour-a-week commitment. So that's what you should be doing for this to be a hobby. If they come to you and say, I would love to be doing this part-time. Because the reason I'm bringing this up is because people, again, are guilty of saying, oh, I want to do this full-time, I want to quit my job. And then they don't even put 2 hours a week of work into it. A full-time job is 40 hours a week at minimum. And if you're really trying to work now how others won't so you can live later how others can't, another favorite quote of mine with entrepreneurship and owning your own business, you got to put in more than 40 hours a week sometimes. But again, our hours are flexible, not optional. So that, Troy and I are putting in a lot of extra hours these 2 weeks because of these home shows and the regular, midweek stuff we're doing with you guys. But we will be able to flex that time back during the summer when our kids are off school. So it is going to ebb and flow a little bit. But if they want to do it as a hobby, hobbies are still something that's a couple hours a week at least, not, one Facebook post every few days and then wondering why they're not getting the orders. So some of this, I hope, was speaking to you guys, but also just to give you that confidence to be able to coach your new team members about this stuff so that they have realistic expectations and that you are there to teach them to fish and to teach them to believe in themselves and inspire them, not do it for them, because that's not sustainable. You won't be able to do that as your team gets big, and you won't be able to do that for them ongoing and expect them to ever, fly or swim on their own. So that's my little pep talk for you guys today. For the challenge, I want you guys to share a comment in the thread below this about this is my favorite question to ask people when we are doing opportunity nights, even though this is just going to be amongst ourselves. I want you to share amongst everybody in this group, what is the one thing that you know now that you wish you knew when you were a brand new consultant? So this isn't about bashing your sponsor and what they didn't do. This is about aha moments you've had now that you wish and know would have helped you in your early days, that you can then, it's all just about learning and how we change the future, not about dwelling on the past. How you can take that and apply it to making sure that you include that in your training of your new team members. So let's try and keep them not the same as each other, because I know there's lots of examples and lots of ideas. So the quicker you comment, the easier it is to not have to worry about coming up with something somebody hasn't already said. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can all come up with and share, and just that chance to talk about kind of the journey you guys have been on as well. So have a great rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.